Hey YouTube, it's Super Urbo here again, fighting the good fight. Today I'm bringing you an Infinite Warfare gameplay with the knife, and the knife only. It's very unfair that I have to do this, that I only get to use a knife while my opponents all get guns. Of course I'm going for knife camos here, but I wanted to point out that only getting a knife is totally unfair. But you'll see me have a pretty good gameplay, finishing well at the top of my team and getting 23 kills with only 7 deaths, all while using only a knife. So I make the best out of a pretty bad situation for me. You're going to see me here trying to get a lot of backstabber medals, like that one there, getting them from the back, and that's what I'm going to be going for mostly in this gameplay. I wanted to talk to you guys today about another story that I've been thinking about lately, and I get reminded of this story often when I feel like I'm getting a bad deal in life. The story is found in Genesis in the Bible and starts at about chapter 37. It's the story of Joseph. I'm not going to read the entire story, but I'm going to bring up some highlights from the story. Where I'd like to begin is when Joseph is 17 years old and he works for his brothers as a shepherd. There's a total of 12 brothers, and their dad is this guy named Jacob. But some brothers have different mothers, and Joseph has only one true brother with the same mother, Benjamin. And as it turns out, Jacob loves those sons the most, as they came from the same woman he loved the most, Rachel. So if you're following me so far, Jacob has 12 sons, one of them being Joseph, who he loves the most. Because of that, Jacob ends up giving Joseph a special coat, which is well known as the coat of many colors. Not surprisingly, Joseph's brothers start to hate Joseph because Jacob loves Joseph more than them. Joseph then starts having some dreams, which basically are summarized as his brothers would one day bow down to him. And he told his brothers this, which made his brothers hate him even more. Joseph ends up having more similar dreams about his brothers bowing down to him, and he ends up sharing those with his brothers again. And surprise, surprise, his brothers really start to hate him. Now, I'm not sure what was going through Joseph's mind, but it seems like it was not the smartest idea to be telling all of these things to his brothers, especially since they hated him. Now, it's about here when Joseph's brothers go away to take care of a bunch of sheep. After some time, Jacob sends Joseph to go see how they are doing. And as he starts getting closer, Joseph's brothers see him coming and decide that they should kill him. Now, that goes to show you how much they hated him. Part of that hate was out of Joseph's control, because it was not his fault that his father liked him more than the others. One of the brothers decides that killing him would not be good, but leaving him in a pit to die would be better. He actually was intending to come back and rescue him later, but for the most part, the brothers hated him so much they wanted him dead. So when Joseph meets up with them, they take off his special coat and throw him in the pit as planned. After a bit, the brothers see a caravan coming through, and they come up with a new plan that they will sell Joseph as a slave, and that's exactly what they do. Now, the brothers end up killing a goat and dip Joseph's special coat in the blood from the goat to make it look like Joseph was killed, and they show that to his dad Jacob. But let's stay with Joseph. He got a bad deal in getting sold into slavery when he did nothing wrong. He ends up getting sold again to a guy named Potiphar, who is captain of the palace guard in Egypt. Now, instead of whining or complaining about his bad situation, Joseph works hard in Potiphar's house, and Potiphar sees that God is with Joseph. Potiphar ends up being so happy with Joseph, he puts him in charge of his entire house. So you can see that it benefited Joseph in not whining or complaining about his situation, but doing the best with it. In time, Potiphar's wife decides she wants to sleep with Joseph, and he refuses because he's a man of good character. But eventually on one day, it is only the two of them around, and she pleads again with him and grabs his coat. He leaves her and his coat behind, and when she sees that she has his coat, she cries out and some servants come by. She claims he was trying to rape her and that he left his coat behind. She tells this to Potiphar when he comes back, and Potiphar is furious with Joseph and he throws him in jail. So again Joseph gets a bad deal, as again he did nothing wrong. But instead of whining or complaining about his bad situation, Joseph works hard in prison. He makes the best of his bad situation. Before long, The warden of the prison puts Joseph in charge of the prison. Now, during this time, Pharaoh's cupbearer and baker both offend Pharaoh, and he throws both of them into jail. Joseph is put in charge of them, and after a long time, both of them have a dream. Joseph notices they both look upset, and they say, "No one can interpret our dreams." Joseph, through God, is able to determine what the dreams mean. For the cupbearer, it means getting his job back, and for the baker, it means his death. Both interpretations end up coming true. Now, Joseph had told the cupbearer to remember him, and to tell Pharaoh about him when he was with Pharaoh again. But the cupbearer forgets, and again Joseph gets a bad deal, as he has to stay in prison. 2 more years go by, and Pharaoh himself has a dream, and that's when the cupbearer remembers Joseph. Long story short, Joseph interprets Pharaoh's dream and is put second in command of all of Egypt, but not before being in jail for a really long time. Joseph again made good of a bad situation and just made the best of it. There's a lot more to the story, but that's about all I can get in for this video. So the lesson here is that even when you get a bad deal, when you get what you didn't deserve, just remember to not whine and complain about it. Maybe God has a plan for you where you are at, much like he did for Joseph. Because Joseph maintained a good attitude about it, he ended up saving all of Egypt, including his family, and being given much power. So I challenge you guys to think about where you are at in life. Is it in a good place, or is it a difficult and challenging place? Are you in a bad situation, even if it was something you didn't deserve? Either way, know that God can use you where you're at. And like I was in a bad situation in this gameplay, only being able to use a knife, I still made out okay with it. In fact, I figure I did more than okay, as had a kill-death ratio of over 3.0, and that wasn't even just trying to get just any kills. I was specifically trying to get backstabber kills. So even with disadvantaging myself that much, it still worked out okay. Remember, true faith and submitting your life to Jesus Christ is not easy and can feel like a constant battle. This is why we read in the Bible in 1 Timothy chapter 6, verse 2, "Fight the good fight for the true faith. Hold tightly to the eternal life to which God has called you, which you have declared so well before many witnesses." If you enjoyed this gameplay or commentary, hit the like button for me, and feel free to leave a comment below about anything you want to see on the next video. Don't forget to subscribe. That brings me to the end of this one, my friends, so keep fighting the good fight of faith, hold true to God's calling on your life, and I'll see you next time.